The oceans breathe, a rhythm older than time itself. Now they shift, in ways we no longer control. The tides of the world are calling, and we are running out of time. The oceans are shifting. The world is coming apart. Beneath the surface, in the dark and the deep, forces awaken. Their song is one of change. We send our signals into the abyss, hoping the sea will answer. But the storm has no mercy. In the silence after the storm, time bends here. The past clings to the present. The future stands frozen in place. We have drifted beyond the edge of understanding. The earth groans beneath us. The oceans twist in rebellion. What once was steady now cracks. We live by the grace of moments borrowed from a future we have yet to know. The ocean remembers, and so do we. Time is our greatest force.
Morning, you're now tuned into another episode of It's Too Early for All That. I am your humble host, Jordan Baylor, filmmaker, animator, and your guide to everything under the sun. I've got coffee in hand, excitement in my heart, and I'm ready to kick off the day with some fresh, hot takes. And I'm joined by none other than my groovy co-host, Fulton. How are you doing today, my good man?
Groovy? Was that like a diss?
I don't know. So anyways, if you saw the beginning of the episode, you know that over this past weekend, AI generation company Runway AI ran a 48-hour filmmaking competition to see who could come up with the best short film with their prompts. And this was my entry that played at the beginning of the episode. It's called Earth Has a Shot. And it's a short film that we worked on it from Saturday and Sunday, and we got it in the last minute. And the prompts, Runway AI is really, really cool. It's a really, really cool software that they have to keep like tooling around with, because you can't like sit there and make a narrative feature film, like, you know, a story following one character. The way that would work would be, I don't think it would work unless the character design changes, because it's very, very hard to keep the character faces consistent. But other than that, Runway can do anything that you think of. You can think of cool shots, cool characters, cool lighting, cool scenarios. Anything that your imagination has, Runway can generate. And it's very, very powerful software. And I was pretty blown away by all the things that you can generate with the prompts. Yeah, I was pretty blown away by that.
It is pretty cool.
It is. All right. So jumping into it, we're going to talk about Batman. So first off, shout out to Batman, because he's going to be getting a Hollywood Walk of Fame next week, according to Variety. So kudos for that. I think it's a plot to get him to show up, and they're just going to lock his ass up. So I don't really think that's a good idea for... I think they're going to get him. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap, Batman. But to add on top of that, the Penguin's name for the upcoming Penguin series, his name was changed from Oswald Cobblepot, which it is in the comics, to Oz Cobb in the Batman universe, to make the characters more grounded. DC had thought about changing his name at some point, but had never done it. Matt asked, can I change characters Oz Cobb? And they said yes. So my question to you is, this is like the third or fourth thing that I've read about. This is the third or fourth thing that I've read about Matt changing things to make it more grounded. And then but it's cool, but it's cutting into the villains that Batman would even fight realistically, because everything is so grounded. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's dumb as fuck to start changing names just to make them sound more grounded. Because why? Like Cobblepot,
He even changed Edward Nygma to Edward Nashton. That's the Riddler's real name. So I left out that detail, but continue.
Yeah. No, yeah, like because Edward Nigma, Enigma, that sort of makes sense to make it ground. But I mean, Cobblepot, it's like we're forgetting that this shit is fiction at this point. People can have goofy names. Even in real life, people can have goofy names. We went to high school with a teacher whose literal name was Quackenbush. That's a fucking Batman villain name right there. And that motherfucker exists. Looks as goofy as you would expect him to look. I don't know if you remember that teacher. You don't remember Mr. Quackenbush? Anyway, that was a guy who was employed by HISD. You mean to tell me Cobblepot can't be a fucking name? Nigma? Okay, I'm not gonna say my last name, but I have a last name that's crazy as fuck. You know, we can say it. It's just straight up. My last name is just straight up gay, with no e at the end. None of that shit. Just butt fuck gay. No offense. You know, it just means flamboyant. And it meant flamboyant before people started fucking around with it. It still means flamboyant to me. You know. Yeah, okay, I'll get off of that before it gets any deeper. But anyway, like, what are they trying to do? Make it more grounded. What the fuck does that mean? It's still a dude who waddles around like a fucking penguin who goes by the penguin. There's a dude with a fucked up face that people are going to call the Joker at some point, who's going to laugh like a fucking mental patient because he is a mental patient. What are we trying to do with the whole grounded thing? It sounds like more like at them trying to appease to these fucking edgelord teenagers that don't understand what the fuck they're looking at, or they think that they want everything to have like that grim dark take on it just so they can like okay, for Red Ash, like Studio 4C released the short film Red Ash. It was from a Kickstarter originally for Keiji Inafune's new company. I don't know if it's still going. Concept, where they were redoing Mega Man style stuff because he doesn't work at Capcom anymore, so he can't work on Mega Man. And there was a whole fiasco with the Kickstarter because people are stupid as fuck, like I always say, and they don't know how shit works. Where he did Mighty Number 9. That Kickstarter was like hugely successful. They put that game out. It was just, games take a while to make, no matter how simple people seem to think that they are. They did all the work on that. And it was that Mighty Number 9 was based on classic Mega Man, like the 2D side scrolling type of gameplay. And there's another series called Mega Man Legends. That's more of a 3D action adventure style game, and he was gonna do a reboot or a spiritual successor to that called Red Ash. And the Kickstarter for that failed because people were saying, how are you gonna start a new Kickstarter for another game when the first Kickstarter for the other game isn't even out? Or the Kickstarter for the first game, like that game isn't even out, which was stupid to say because his company did all the work that they could do for that game. Like they just handed it off to the developer, which was Inti Creates, to finish up. And for them, it's a company. They got to keep the lights on. He needs something for the employees to be doing. So I remember there was footage of it. He had some panel going on. He asked people if they like Mega Man Legends, if he was to do a spiritual successor to that, would they be interested? Of course, the room fucking erupts. He's like, all right, this is my next idea. Sets up that Kickstarter. There's an anime Kickstarter, like co-Kickstarter that's with it. So it's like with the game, we'll also do this like little anime short film that'll be done by Studio 4C. Studio 4C has also done, I can't think of the other animes off the top of my head, but they've done other stuff in anime. They've also done animated stuff in video games. And so that came out. It's on YouTube right now. A lot of people forgot about it because this was like maybe 5-6 years ago. But people were like calling it, but it's out. I watched it. It's pretty fun. But back to the whole Kickstarter fiasco thing. Yeah, people were saying it was mismanaged and all this other shit. And it's, again, people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about because, again, his company did everything that they could do. They needed something else to start working on. So they start working on this, and you'll be able to cut like my pauses out, right? All right, because I'm trying to like regather my thoughts of where I was going with that. Well, yeah, fuck it. Basically, it's out. Check it out.
That sounds like a really interesting. You said it's a short film?
Yeah, it's a short film on YouTube. It's going to be available until October 14th. I think that I want to say that was the day, October 14th.
Okay, we'll link to it in the show notes. That sounds exciting. I always like any idea with Mega Man. Is this the original creator of Mega Man?
No, well, he's the force behind it, you could say, like the main producer, the guy who became known as, because he's often misquoted as the creator of Mega Man. That's how closely
Mm-hmm.
tied to the series he's been over the decades.
Oh wow, wow.
But you might as well call him the creator at this point. Like he always goes out and champions it, and like would always do he would always do an autograph with like a sketch of like classic Mega Man and stuff like that whenever you do signings.
That's hard,
So
man. I've
he's
been yeah. That's hard. The past few, it's unrelated, but it kind of is related. The show that I kind of, when I have like insomnia, can't go to sleep, is I throw on the '90s version of Mega Man. It's on YouTube. I'll
yeah, I
also
love
link to
that
that in
show.
the show notes. Yeah, it's absolutely good and terrible at the exact same time. I
Yeah,
haven't been able to make it through a single episode. Lulls me right to sleep. So beautiful animation though. But
it was a shit when we were kids,
yeah,
and then you
I
get
never
old
could
and it's
catch
like,
the
oh, this
beginning.
is
This is horrible.
yeah.
But
The theme song's iconic though. Super Fighting Robot.
oh yeah,
Mega
right.
Man.
I was like, yo,
Yeah,
this. I was like, if you're gonna do like a Mega Man movie, you need to like make fun of that song in the movie, like at least
or just
once.
play
Like
it.
yeah, just a remix of it because it's such a funny theme song.
I love that song. I love that song so much. I still think about that song.
I think though, to go back to your point though, I think people are very, very impatient when it comes to Kickstarter creations, just because they take
Mm.
so long. Like I've donated to so many people's Kickstarters, and I literally just always go, as soon as I give money, I go, I'm not ever looking for this thing to ever be in my hands because I just know what happens after people get money and start creating. It's like stuff happens. And sometimes I'll get an email that goes, hey, here's your delivery of your comic book that you submitted to 2 years ago. I remember it was a comic book with Lakeith Stanfield. He was working on some comic book of a rock star guy, and they sent me the first issue. It was 2 years after I sent the Kickstarter, and I didn't even care about the comic book anymore. I don't think I even read it, but I was just glad
Yeah,
that they finished it. So people have to be mindful, very demure about the way they feel, which is like when you give to a Kickstarter, you're giving to the creator. I'm not saying you're giving to their lifestyle, but you do have to give them grace and an exorbitant amount of time because trust me, their delivery dates come and go, and stuff is a lot harder to hit delivery dates than when they don't have a corporation pushing behind them. It's just them. They're just the machine. So I agree with you. People don't know. People need to be patient, and people need to realize that these are like entities that are doing it outside of the corporate system. That's why they're coming to you. So sometimes it takes a little longer, you know.
yeah, absolutely. Everything you just said. I mean, that was
That's
one of
literally.
the main
I
issues
just
is that
I
people.
just regurgitated what you said. So
Oh, did you?
yeah. No, not really, but a little bit. I
Because it was
just
like
from
it didn't feel like
yeah,
it was more nuanced, more detailed than what I was saying.
more detail. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck they're looking at.
That's me. That's me. They don't know what the
That's
fuck they're talking
literally it.
about. They don't know what the
You
fuck
don't
they're
know what the
looking at.
fuck they're talking about. They don't know what the fuck they're looking at. You
They
as
don't
a
know how this
father, you don't know what
process
the
works.
fuck you're talking about. You to your kids. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know what the fuck you're looking at. You and your kid says like Final Fantasy VII on PS2 is boring. You don't know what the fuck you're looking at. And you as a parent, Dad, this game is boring. They're playing Final Fantasy X on PS3. You know what the fuck you're looking at? Playing Kingdom Hearts. You know what the fuck you're talking about? You push him out of the chair. You're talking about greatness. Tears in your eyes. This nigga walks over and pats the PlayStation. I'm sorry y'all had to hear that.
That's dead ass what I sound like half the time.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah.
That's you as a parent. That's you as a parent. Yeah. So this has been another episode of It's Too Early for All That. If there's a man outside your window knocking, call the police.
So what do you mean by groovy early? What the fuck was that?
And he wants to talk about the main event. All right, so this past weekend, UFC 306 happened, and it took place at the UFC Vegas Sphere. You know, the Sphere in the big dome where they put all the cool stuff on it.
Right.
Inside of it, they have graphics, and the headline was Sean O'Malley versus Merab, some weird Dagestani name, I think, or Turkish. Who gives a shit? Anyways, so it's Sean O'Malley. He's the guy I used to hang out with 6ix9ine when he was relevant, and some dude, right? And the one thing about this guy is he's funny as hell. He's a troll. His name is Merab. He's a big ass troll, bro. So the fight starts. And it was a really weird main event, right? The fight starts, and the coach and Sean's coach, Sean and the coach have a really big podcast, and they're really famous. And the fight starts, and Merab starts to walk towards Sean, and then the coach yells a note to Sean, and Merab literally tries to attack the corner. Like, the fight is 10 seconds into it, and he's literally taking his eyes off his opponent and trying to run towards the corner. And the ref is like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? No excessive coaching. What are you doing, Merab? Like, fight this guy. Like, and it was weird, bro. Like, he literally towards the end, he steamrolled Sean. He beat the shit out of the champ. So he beat the shit out of the champ, and he's the new champ. But the way he was doing it was just different. You know, there was moments where he would like get close to him, and then when he would have his arm around his neck, or arm around, like, he would have his head bent down, he started kissing his back. You know, it was just like it was
psych out
weird,
shit?
bro. I don't know if it was psych out. He was like literally like kissing the man's back, kissing the man's neck. And the guy was getting so frustrated because he couldn't beat him up, and he was getting kissed on. So it's got to be even more frustrating when you're the champ and you're getting kissed on. Like, I don't know, bro. It was a weird headline. The other fights on the card were really exceptional, but the headlining fight was I don't know, bro. I guess the word I'd use weird. But you should see it's worth looking up the Sphere graphics. They were insane, bro. I've never seen anything like that, bro. To be honest with you, graphics wise, it was crazy, bro. Like, even if you don't like UFC, even if you don't like fighting, just watching the walkout videos, the stuff that they were doing with the Sphere, it was crazy, bro. Like, I don't know how to describe it. The graphics, UFC should probably win an award for what they did, because I've never seen anything like that.
I think just the presentation was the production value was just crazy like that.
Production value was crazy, bro. It was like they would show the wilderness, and you could see the UFC ring, but then it would actually look like it was in the middle of Africa, and you'd be like, what? Like, your mind is trying to put the two together. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. That's the only word I can use to describe it. The graphics were another level.
I'm gonna look that up.
Dare I say it, if I'm gonna be real with you, demonic. That would be the word I would use, because it's taking you to another portal. It's demonic. It's, you know what? Stay away from it. It's demonic. That's the proper word for it. You see how I got people? You see how I got people interested? You see how they gonna be like, "You ain't gonna tell me it ain't demonic. I'm gonna go check it out now." Show his stupid ass. If I said it was godly, they'd be like, "This shit sound boring." I said it's demonic. I can't wait. I bought 3 copies. Like,
it's weird how that works, huh?
Yeah. Now you're gonna go check it out because I told you it's demonic. You're like, show me up, dumbass. So yeah, that's my segment.
I liked it.